Welcome to the Deconstructionist Deep Dive.
The podcast that doesn't just accept the story.
We break it
We examine the pieces.
and expose the machinery inside.
Both. Let's dive in.
So today we are focusing our analytical lens on something pretty huge. It's everywhere.
Right, we're talking about modern self-improvement, specifically biohacking.
And maybe the biggest name, the most, let's say, commercially successful architect of that space, Dave Asprey.
And the question we really want you to grapple with today, the core of this deep dive, is this. What if everything about biohacking your way to freedom isn't just wrong, but is designed to keep you trapped in a different kind of cage?
Yeah, exactly. This isn't just, does Bulletproof coffee work, or are these supplements any good?
Yeah.
Our central proposition here, our thesis, it's much sharper. We're saying Asprey's biohacking, it's not just like a list of health tips.
Okay.
It is a meticulously constructed neo-capitalist spiritual marketplace. And it does three really critical things, all connected. One, it medicalizes totally normal human experience. Two, it commodifies like actual transcendence.
Puts a price tag on it.
Exactly. And maybe most importantly, three, it manufactures this structural dependency on the guru, on his products.
That dependency piece is key.
Right.
We're here to really pull apart what we're calling the primary contradiction. It's right there at the heart of this whole industry. The promise, the shiny marketing promise is always work smarter, not harder.
Right.
You'll be liberated, optimized, you'll save time.
Sounds great.
But when you actually look at what it takes to follow this system, it's the opposite. It demands extreme, constant dedication, relentless self-monitoring.
And money, lots of money.
Huge financial consumption, yeah. It basically replaces honest, maybe grueling physical labor with this relentless barrage of cognitive labor and financial labor.
And where does that labor go?
Straight into servicing the guru's ecosystem, his products, his labs, his programs. It just keeps growing.
So the freedom they're selling you, you basically have to buy your way into this very expensive, very tech-heavy cage.
Precisely. So it's time. Time to take out the scalpel, get the wider lens, and really look at the science, the psychology, the narrative that makes this whole machine pick.
Okay, let's start right at the bottom. The foundation, the evidence.
Yeah, the science bit.
In, rigorous science, claims need validation, reproducible data, peer review, all that.
The gold standard.
But what our sources are showing us suggests the foundation here is, well, it's built on something much softer, much more like sand.
Yeah, we're looking at a real breakdown, epistemologically speaking. The core issue is this heavy, heavy reliance on what you can only really call, trust me, bro, science.
Ha! Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
It's not about, sound methods or statistical significance. It's all about the speaker's confidence, how compelling their personal story is.
And the specific failure of evidence standards here, it's absolute. It's not subtle. Across the board with these biohacking claims, you see personal success stories, very carefully chosen testimonial.
A highlights reel.
Exactly. And they are explicitly used instead of controlled double-blind studies. This isn't just like a minor difference in methodology.
It's a whole different category of proof.
It's a categorical swap. You're basically being asked to bet your health and your wallet on the difference between someone saying, hey, this worked for me and like 10 of my rich friends, versus this works reliably for a representative group under controlled conditions. Big difference.
And what's so fascinating, maybe a little insidious, is how masterfully this just slides past your critical thinking. When someone presents this really emotionally compelling story, look how successful I am, look how much energy I have, and here's what I did. That story itself creates this immediate, powerful sense of authority.
You stop thinking about the how.
You stop asking about control groups or sample sizes. Yeah. You start asking, okay, how do I get what he's got? That emotional hook connects you straight to the speaker's perceived authority and success.
And it just neutralizes scientific skepticism.
Completely.
Which is absolutely critical for the next step, what we're calling the metric fetishism.
Ah, yes, the obsession with numbers.
It's this obsession with boiling down the entire incredibly nuanced reality of human health into single, clean, manageable metrics, numbers you can track.
Okay, let's use a concrete example from the sources. DNA methylation.
Right. Complex biochemical process. It's tied to gene expression. Very important science.
Super complex. But in this marketplace, it gets presented as the definitive measure of your biological age.
And why is that reduction so commercially brilliant?
Because real aging is messy. It's multi-factor, right? Environment, stress, genetics, pure luck, thousands of things interacting.
It's complicated, and complicated doesn't sell easily.
Exactly. So by focusing on this one, kind of high-tech sounding marker, you drastically oversimplify the actual reality of getting older.
You make the problem seem solvable, and
Right.
therefore purchasable.
That's the business strategy right
Yeah.
there. Complexity reduction.
So multifaceted health problems, things that might need difficult, maybe free solutions like, I don't know, leaving a toxic job, getting out of debt stress, meditating.
Stuff that takes effort and introspection.
Right. Those get constantly reduced instead to these quantifiable, purchasable biomarkers. And guess what? These biomarkers always seem to require an intervention
Usually a proprietary supplement or a test kit or some specialized machine.
that they happen to sell. Funny how that works.
You reduce the beautiful, messy, complex experience of being alive
Yeah.
into a single, probably expensive number you can obsessively track and try to improve, usually for a price.
And if your fancy biological age number is too high, boom, defined problem. Needs a defined commercial fix. Available right here in the Guru's catalog.
That's neat. Too neat.
And the claims themselves often lack even basic methodological grounding. Like, our sources pointed out the specific, really vague claim you see thrown around. 15 minutes week of exercise equals 12% improvement.
Okay. Improvement in what?
Exactly. It's someone analytical. That just drives me nuts. What does that even mean? 12% improvement in cardiovascular health, muscle mass, mood. Over what time period? Who was studied?
Was it mice? Was it elite athletes? Was it people already using their products?
Right. Without any methodological transparency, it's not data that informs you. It's just aggressive marketing copy wearing a lab coat.
The goal isn't scientific rigor, let's be clear. The goal is to create an immediate, non-negotiable action. Buy the thing that gets you that supposed 12% boost.
And this structural dependence on metrics, on numbers, leads us straight into deception one. The quantified self as liberation.
The idea that tracking everything makes you free.
This is the core belief, the sales pitch, really, that equating true self-knowledge directly with external trackable measurement with data is somehow inherently freeing.
The logic is, measure everything about yourself, understand everything, therefore, liberation.
But we have to ask the crucial question, who really benefits from all this constant measuring?
Yeah, where does the power actually flow?
The power dynamic gets flipped, doesn't it? This whole mechanism heavily serves surveillance capitalism. It serves data harvesting. By submitting yourself willingly to constant biometric tracking, your sleep stages, your HRV, your glucose, your energy expenditure, you are turning yourself, your own body, into a fully measurable, potentially exploitable asset.
The data stream coming off your body might actually be way more valuable long-term than that one expensive supplement you bought.
Absolutely. And what's really fascinating here, something our sources brought up, is this a sharp historical parallel between this modern obsession with biometrics and the historical practice of the Catholic examination of conscience.
Oh, interesting. Okay, unpack that.
Think about the historical context, right? The examination of conscience was this rigorous, maybe daily or weekly spiritual audit.
Right. Checking yourself against the rules.
You'd meticulously track your thoughts, your intentions, your actions against a predetermined moral standard, the Church's doctrine. It required intense self-monitoring.
Okay.
And ultimately, you reported your failings, your data to the priest during confession.
You outsourced the interpretation.
You outsourced self-awareness to a system and to a high-status interpreter, the priest.
Okay, I see the parallel now.
Fast forward to today. You audit your biological data sleep quality, HRV, methylation score against a proprietary standard set by the biohacking guru and his algorithms.
You confess your failing data points. My beep sleep was only 18%.
Exactly. Not to a priest, but maybe to an app or a commercial system. And the interpreter, the guru, provides the absolution.
Usually in the form of
A specific product you need to buy, or an expensive service like Upgrade Labs.
wow. The cost of that is actually profound, isn't it? The user outsources their own self-awareness.
Completely. You stop trusting your lived experience.
Like, if your body feels fine, energetic even, but your fancy ring tells you your HRV score is low,
You trust the number. You ignore the feeling.
you're trained to reduce your own personal authority in favor of these external technical metrics.
And the commercial system that interprets them for you. You become dependent on the machine, on the guru, to tell you how you really feel instead of just feeling it.
Okay, so if the first part showed us how the system kind of dismantles our critical thinking about the science, this section really gets into why it's so psychologically sticky.
Right. Why does it work on people?
It works because it's basically a masterclass in fear-based marketing.
Right.
It constructs the problems first, then offers the patented solutions. We're calling it the problem construction engine.
Okay. How does the engine work?
The fundamental operation is pretty straightforward, psychologically speaking.
Yeah.
Make totally normal human experiences seem pathological, abnormal, diseased.
Like being tired sometimes.
Exactly. Occasional fatigue isn't just, oh, I had a long week. No. It's framed as a sign of, like, mitochondrial failure.
Something technical and scary.
Or feeling a bit anxious isn't just, part of being alive in a stressful world. It's reframed as a chemical imbalance that needs a quick commercial fix.
So the engine creates these huge, expansive problems.
That just so happen to require proprietary solutions only they sell.
Convenient.
Very. And they do this using really specific high-impact language. It's designed deliberately to trigger fear and shame. Let's use the exact phrasing our sources picked up on, because the word choice is so intentional. It's meant to hit hard emotionally.
Okay, let's hear them.
Trauma. Complex, long-term psychological process, needs integration, maybe therapy. Here it's framed as walking around with a loaded gun.
Whoa. Okay, that's intense.
Right. That analogy doesn't invite gentle integration over time. It creates immediate, paralyzing urgency. You feel this desperate need for an instantaneous fix, a disarmament process.
A proprietary cure they can sell you.
Exactly. Then there's biological inadequacy, the normal human state of not being perfectly optimal 24/7. How's that framed?
How?
As a malnourished Petri dish.
Ugh, that's designed to make you feel unclean, weak.
It's a total shame trigger.
Fair.
It implies corruption, weakness, decay, right down to your biological essence. Needs an immediate, probably expensive intervention to clean up that internal mess.
And the food thing?
Oh, the war on food is relentless. Food, necessary for life, often a source of joy, culture, connection.
Here it's framed as an active enemy. Food is trying to kill you.
That just generates constant consumer paranoia, right? And it necessitates reliance on these proprietary guru-approved diets and products, things that screen out all the supposed attackers.
Which further locks you into their specific product ecosystem. You can't trust normal food anymore.
You need their approved, safe versions. All this language, it works together to create this intense urgency. It justifies the often very steep price tags.
And they frame the solutions as these time-sensitive opportunities, don't they? Using biological determinism.
Absolutely. You hear things like, your body wants this supplement, or your genes need this protocol right now.
Which makes buying feel less like a choice and more like destiny.
Exactly. It makes consumption feel like you're just fulfilling your biological mandate. You're not just buying a pill. You're aligning with your deep biology. Very clever.
And this feeds directly into the next piece, the salvation narrative and the expert dependency.
Right. Because once you feel fundamentally broken, you're the loaded gun, the Petri dish you need saving.
And who has the map?
The system masterfully positions the guru, Asprey in this case, as the essential mediator. The only one standing between you and your own well-being.
He holds the secrets.
The narrative starts with you, the user, in this state of biological brokenness, and only the guru holds the secret map, the specific supplements, the proprietary tech needed to guide you back to baseline, or even better, to optimization.
And we see classic consumer psychology tricks being used here, right?
Totally. Textbook stuff. First, perceived scarcity.
The secret knowledge.
Yeah, the knowledge is branded as exclusive advanced wisdom that, mainstream medicine is supposedly too slow or too ignorant to grasp. Creates an in-group, out-group feeling.
We know something they don't.
Then, social proof. That's huge. Testimonials from high-status people, wealthy, famous individuals.
Suggesting that their success is linked to these hacks.
It implies that optimization and financial success are tied together, and this is the path. If you want that, you need this.
And anchoring it all is the authority claim.
The branding of Asprey as the father of biohacking.
If he invented the field, who are you to argue?
Exactly. By definition, he's the supreme authority. But notice the fundamental contradiction here.
It tells you aggressively, take control of your biology.
Right. Empowerment language.
But you can only achieve that control by submitting completely to their rules, their diagnostics, their product catalog.
Your control is entirely dependent on their system. It's not real autonomy.
Speaking of fundamental contradictions, this is where we have to get a bit philosophical, right? This brings us to deception too. Biological reductionism versus existential reality.
Yes, and the specific claim we really need to dissect here is this incredible reductionist belief that 70% of emotional stress malnourishment.
I mean, well, 70%. That's
It's a marketer's dream, isn't it? So neat, so tidy, So commercially packaged.
If stress is 70% malnourishment, well then 70% of human suffering can be fixed by buying the right proprietary vitamins.
Yeah.
Simple.
But that claim just surgically removes centuries of really crucial philosophical thought about what it means to be human.
Yeah, it completely ignores the existential side of things.
Exactly. Let's counter this with the lens of existentialism. Think Sartre, Camus, de Beauvoir. What do they argue?
They'd say stress, anxiety, angst.
Yeah.
These aren't just nutritional deficiencies you can supplement away.
No. They're inherent, maybe even necessary, parts of the human condition.
They come from facing the big stuff. Freedom, responsibility for your choices, knowing you'll die, searching for meaning and potentially a meaningless universe.
Heavy stuff, real stuff.
So from that philosophical viewpoint, the stress you feel when, say, you lose someone you love, or you face a really hard life decision, or you grapple with the absurdity of it all, that's not a bug, it's a feature.
It's integration. It's a sign you're actually engaging with reality, not just deficient in magnesium.
But by reducing this profound integrating psychological distress to a mere vitamin deficiency,
The system achieves massive commercial utility. It makes the problem solvable with a purchase.
the marketplace doesn't want you to sit with and integrate your existential angst. That doesn't sell anything.
No, it wants you to buy a pill or a device to make that uncomfortable feeling go away instantly, which creates a perpetual purchasable market for nutritional fixes and tech solutions.
And this whole dynamic, it's a perfect illustration of Ivan Illich's critique of medicalization.
Yes. Illich, explain that connection.
Illich argued decades ago that experts gain immense social and economic power by defining normal, common human experiences.
Like feeling sad sometimes, getting older, dealing with work stress.
Exactly, defining those things as technical, pathological problems.
Problems that then require an expert intervention, usually commercial one.
And the biohacking ecosystem, it's like Illich's prophecy fully realized in the digital age, turbocharged by capitalism.
So normal fatigue becomes a mitochondrial defect needing a specific peptide.
The natural process of aging becomes biological failure, requiring cellular reprogramming.
Common sadness gets redefined as a neurotransmitter imbalance, a market opportunity.
You're told your feelings aren't a normal human response to a complex world. No, they're a technical bug in your personal flawed hardware.
And that bug needs a commercial patch, which, conveniently, they sell.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. We've talked about the science, or lack thereof, and the psychology. Now let's look at the machine itself, the mechanics.
The business model behind the philosophy.
Because that philosophical framework, that narrative, it only really works because it drives this meticulously designed business model. We need to map the revenue architecture to see the actual road to lock in.
Okay, it sounds like a classic funnel, right? Modern digital marketing 101.
Totally. It traces that path from the free stuff, the engaging content, books, podcasts, interviews, free tips.
Stuff that builds trust, establishes the guru's persona as helpful and knowledgeable.
Right. From that free entry point, it moves you towards product sales, and the ultimate goal is complete financial ecosystem lock-in.
You enter the funnel, and the design ensures you never really leave. There's always a next step, a next purchase.
Let's break down the system, the components, the tiers to see how this lock-in works. Starting with the entry point, often the daily ritual.
That would be the coffee, danger coffee.
Exactly. This isn't just about caffeine. It's about establishing a proprietary daily ritual, replacing your normal cheap coffee with their special optimized version.
It subtly asserts the brand's technical, maybe even moral superiority over your existing habits right from the start.
Then, once that daily ritual is maybe established, you move up the value chain to the premium, often local services.
That's the upgrade labs piece.
Right. This is the expensive, high-touch service targeting fitness, longevity optimization, specialized machines, proprietary protocols.
Stuff that promises maximum results in minimum time, but it costs a lot.
And it requires scheduled visits, high monthly fees. It turns self-improvement into a kind of luxury access service, pay to play.
Okay, what about the really high end? For people with serious disposable income?
For those seeking the ultimate, deepest experience or promised experience, you have 40 years of Zen.
Right, the really expensive one.
This is the highest end offering. And look what they're selling, spiritual acceleration.
Spiritual acceleration.
Yeah. Neurofeedback, proprietary meditation processes, costing tens of thousands of dollars for just a few days.
Wow. So it turns the traditionally long, difficult path of enlightenment into something measurable, billable, and supposedly fast-tracked by tech.
Precisely. But the bedrock underneath all this, the thing that keeps the lights on day to day.
That'd be the supplements.
Absolutely. This provides the continuous recurring revenue, the churn. These products are constantly positioned as necessary to fill the nutritional gaps.
The gaps that the guru's narrative convinced you exist in your malnourished petri dish body?
So it's not a one-time buy. It's ideally a monthly subscription to your own biological maintenance, as defined by them.
Okay, coffee, labs, high-end retreats, supplements. How do they scale this?
That's the final piece. Franchises.
Ah, replicating the model.
This system ensures local access to the guru's branded services, the upgrade labs, maybe other offerings across the country, even globally. It takes the intellectual property, the brand authority,
And turns it into replicable, physical, revenue-generating storefronts. It's economically brilliant, actually.
decentralized execution, but centralized ideological and financial control. Very smart.
Okay, but let's circle back to that central promise we started with, the working smarter, not harder.
Right, the core sales pitch.
This brings us squarely to the labor paradox, which might be the most deceptive part of this whole lock-in scheme.
Explain the paradox.
The rhetoric is so seductive, isn't it? It constantly promises you'll spend less time exercising, less time cooking, less time worrying, better results, minimal physical output, maybe zero effort even.
The dream of effortless optimization.
But then you look at the reality for someone really deep in this system, the dedicated user. What are they actually doing all day?
They're tracking constantly.
Tracking sleep with specific rings, measuring blood sugar with patches, inputting endless data points into apps, analyzing proprietary results,
Researching the newest gadget, the latest peptide.
scheduling their biohacks, purchasing all the specialized foods and supplements, learning the guru's constantly evolving proprietary systems, adhering to these really strict product-dependent regimens.
Okay, yeah. That sounds like a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. The net effect is this profound and often costly shift. You swap maybe straightforward physical labor like a 45-minute workout or cooking a simple meal.
For relentless cognitive and commercial labor.
Exactly. The user might save 30 minutes at the gym, but they spend 3 hours that evening optimizing their supplement stack, maybe debugging a faulty biometric tracker, comparing different high-end blood testing services.
Auditing every single aspect of their life against the system's incredibly demanding metrics.
The labor doesn't vanish.
Yeah.
It just becomes internalized, technical, intensely consumer-focused. And this cognitive load, it's exhausting.
But because it's framed as optimization, not work, it kind of flies under the radar. It feels productive, even virtuous.
Which all leads to the final stage, the dependency illusion.
The rhetoric is pure empowerment, right? You are the CEO of your own health. Own your biology.
All about sovereignty.
But the actual practice, it's a state of perpetual, ever-increasing reliance on the guru's entire product line, his diagnostic tools, his specific copyrighted interpretations of your data.
So the ultimate outcome is, sovereignty is promised, yes, but it's only actually achieved in their model.
Through subscription, through perpetual reliance, through buying the next upgrade, the next product, the next interpretation. That's the illusion.
Okay, so this system, though, it's not just selling coffee and fancy machines and supplements. It's selling something deeper.
It's selling meaning, isn't it? Tapping into those really fundamental human desires for control, for purpose, for transcendence even, which is where we hit Deception 3. Spiritual accelerationism.
Ah, the promise of a shortcut to enlightenment.
This is the ultimate promise of this marketplace, really. A fast-track enlightenment. The belief that you can achieve profound spiritual growth, maybe even cure deep psychological wounds.
Like trauma.
Through technology. Through specific proprietary processes, like the infamous reset process trauma cure mentioned in the sources.
It basically suggests that the really difficult, messy, often lifelong work of self-integration, you can just engineer around it, find a tech workaround.
And this idea stands in such stark, almost aggressive contrast to pretty much all traditional wisdom, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Think about traditions like Zen Buddhism, the effortful path, the time it takes. That's not a bug, it's the feature.
The repetition, the discipline, the commitment to just sitting there even when your mind is screaming, the failures, the patience.
That is the process. That is how wisdom is realized. The path and the goal are inseparable.
But biohacking looks at that and says, inefficient. We can optimize that. We can speed it up with tech.
And this is the absolute height of commodification, isn't it?
Totally. The system is literally turning the most ineffable, profound spiritual experiences, genuine transcendence, finding peace, healing from trauma?
Into things you can measure, put on a spreadsheet, bill for, and therefore sell as a product.
If you can measure the frequency of your brain waves during meditation, well, you can sell the optimization of those brain waves. The soul just becomes another data stream to be hacked and monetized.
Culturally, this feels like a perfect example of what some critical theorists call the Californian ideology.
Explain that.
It's this notion kind of born out of Silicon Valley culture that basically every human problem, even deep, personal, spiritual suffering, is fundamentally just an engineering challenge.
Something that can be solved with the right tech, the right data, and enough investment capital.
Right. It's solutionism applied directly to the human soul. Everything is a technical problem waiting for a technical fix.
Okay, so if we run this whole narrative through our, let's say, cross-philosophical tensions matrix, where does it immediately start to fall apart?
Well, one concept they sometimes promote is this idea of laziness as sacred OS, optimizing for minimal effort.
Okay, how does that hold up?
It gets challenged by almost every major ethical framework out there.
Like Stoicism.
Definitely Stoicism, which emphasizes virtue through rigorous, daily, often difficult discipline and self-control, not minimizing effort.
Or Aristotle's idea of eudaimonia, flourishing.
Exactly. Aristotle defined the good life, human flourishing, as active engagement, the highest activity of reason and virtue, not effortless optimization via gadgets.
And what about the framing of trauma? The loaded gun analogy?
That reframing of deep psychological trauma is just a technical problem. That might be the most insidious spiritual trap of all.
How so?
If you view trauma not as a profound experience that needs to be integrated, understood within your life story, but as some kind of glitch or infection to be cured by an expert with a machine,
It becomes externalized?
it essentially functions like a secularized version of original sin.
Ah, okay, draw that connection.
In historical Christianity, original sin created this inherent spiritual deficiency. You needed confession. You needed expert absolution from a priest to be cleansed.
Right.
Here, trauma framed as a technical flaw requires a proprietary reset process trauma cure. It functions just like a secular confession.
It grants absolution from the burden of the past.
Through a commercial technical intervention, a high-tech, very expensive shortcut to a supposedly clear conscience, bypassing the hard work of actual healing and integration.
Okay, so stepping back, what are the broader cultural implications if we accept this entire ecosystem, this way of thinking?
Well, first, we absolutely see the rise of wellness capitalism. Self-care gets fundamentally transformed.
Oh.
It stops being an internal, maybe low-tech concept like going for a walk, connecting with friends, quiet reflection, community support.
Things that are often free.
Right. And it becomes this intensive consumer-driven project that demands sophisticated gadgets, expert guidance, constant learning of new protocols, and nonstop expenditure. Self-care becomes another job, another expense.
And second,
The pervasive medicalization of life just gets accelerated. Normal human experience is aggressively pathologized. Everything needs technological correction.
it creates this sharp divide, doesn't it? The natural versus the technological.
Totally. Nature itself, your own natural body, your natural energy cycles, your natural aging process gets framed as fundamentally flawed, inefficient, potentially dangerous even.
Needs constant fixing.
It requires expensive technological intervention for you to achieve your true optimized potential, a potential defined and sold by the system itself.
So the ultimate function here, the whole operation, it's profound. It's not just selling products.
No, it's selling an entire cohesive framework of reality, a reality where human flourishing is presented as technically achievable,
Where suffering is defined as primarily biological failure.
and where all the genuine lasting solutions are individual and, crucially, purchasable.
And in that reality, the guru remains the essential permanent guide, the gatekeeper to this consumerized version of enlightenment. # conclusion and resistance strategy. Okay, let's pull this all together. Synthesize this deconstruction. The ultimate operation, what it all boils down to, is creating perpetual lock-in.
Right. The system traps you by having an immediate, commercially available answer ready for literally every biological or spiritual anxiety you might possibly feel.
Feeling tired. Here's a supplement stack. Feeling stressed. Here's a neurofeedback device. Feeling traumatized. Here's our proprietary cure.
It ensures the guru remains the essential, non-negotiable mediator, the person standing between you and your own sense of wholeness, health, and even meaning.
And the ultimate cost of going down this rabbit hole. of taking this deep dive into biohacking, pursuing optimization above all else.
It's the erosion of your own personal authority.
Yeah.
You trade your autonomy, your ability to listen to your body, your intuition, your lived experience.
For external, commercially driven guidance. You might gain some fancy metrics on a dashboard, but you lose sovereignty over yourself.
And we absolutely have to highlight the alternative frameworks rejected by this model. What gets left out?
The biohacking structure actively excludes, even dismisses, crucial non-commercial paths to well-being.
Like accepting biological limits.
Yeah.
The simple fact that we're imperfect, we age, we get sick, we die.
Yeah, that's out. It dismisses community-based healing practices where suffering is often addressed collectively, relationally, through support networks.
It definitely shuns low-technology wellness approaches. The free things, the simple things, nature, silence, connection.
And maybe most significantly, it completely rejects any political analysis of wellness disparities.
Explain that.
By treating every single issue as an individual biological failure, you're just a malnourished petri dish. The system conveniently sidesteps any need to confront systemic problems.
Like economic inequality causing stress, or environmental toxins, poor neighborhoods, or a lack of access to affordable health care.
Exactly. If you buy a $5,000 air filter for your condo to solve your breathing problems, you're avoiding the much harder political work required to clean up the polluting factory down the street that affects everyone.
It makes systemic failure feel like your own personal biological inadequacy, your fault, your problem to fix by buying their solution.
So what's the way out? What's the path to genuine freedom, not the subscription-based kind?
The resistance strategy for you, the listener, the learner, seems pretty clear based on this analysis. First, reject the quantification imperative.
Reject the idea that everything truly important about you, your peace, your connection, your creativity, your worth, can actually be reduced to a number you have to constantly manage and optimize.
Re-embrace the unmeasurable. Human connection, existential integration, finding meaning, political engagement, community action.
Repoliticize wellness. Recognize that not all suffering is individual or purely biological. Some of it is social, economic, environmental.
And finally, and maybe most importantly, reclaim your personal authority from these commercial spiritual intermediaries.
Your body, your mind, your experience. It is not just some flawed machine waiting for a proprietary software patch from Silicon Valley.
You absolutely have the ability to interpret your own reality, to listen to your own experience, to trust yourself, without needing to purchase a $10,000 neurofeedback session or specialized coffee flown in from halfway around the world.
And that's our deep dive for this week.
Remember, the most dangerous illusion is the one you don't know you're in.
But now you know. So here's our question for you. Where in your own life have you accepted a version of reality because it was easier than asking the hard questions?
Let us know in the comments. Question the narrative. Deconstruct the dogma. See the system.
We'll see you next time. Stay skeptical. Thank you for joining us.